And welcome back to Season 2 of Upper Structure Fridays, a series where we explore the use of upper structures for piano voicings and improvisation. In this season, we're studying quartals. If you're not familiar with upper structures, I strongly suggest you check out Season 1, which is available now as an entire course featuring interactive PDFs, demos, and much more. You can click on the link here or just check the description down below. Also, be sure to watch the introduction to this series where we explain both what quartals are and how we're going to use them to create new colors in music. So today, let's look at a perfect quartal built on the third degree of a dominant 7 chord. It will be notated like this: 3-4-7 over dominant 7. Now this upper structure works really well on any Mixolydian dominant 7 chord, which is why it's so awesome to use in a blues. So if I have a D flat 7, the third is F. So I build my perfect quartal starting on F, and I get F, B flat, and E flat. This is going to contain two tensions: the 9th, that E flat, and the 13th, that B flat. So if I play my D flat 7 down here, and my upper structure F4-7 on my right hand up here, when I put them together, the color I'll get is this. To construct this upper structure, we simply play a perfect quartal over a dominant 7 chord starting on the third degree of that chord. For example, in D flat 7, the 3 is F. So we simply have to play an F perfect quartal on top of a D flat 7. We now have a D flat 7 with a 9 and a 13. This quartal on the third degree of a dominant 7 chord contains one guide tone, the third, and two tensions, the 9th and the 13th, which implies the Mixolydian scale. In fact, it uses all available tensions on a dominant 7th Mixolydian pairing. That's why it's a very effective upper structure to use on a major blues progression or any dominant 7th that pairs well with the Mixolydian scale. Here are the ways that you can think about this quartal. Play a perfect quartal starting on the third of that chord. For a more independent perspective, just think a major third above the root and play the perfect quartal on that note in any inversion. So as we said before, this upper structure works really well with a dominant 7 chord that has a Mixolydian scale. But it's also worth noting that this upper structure, the 3-4-7, also allows for a Lydian flat 7 scale. The Lydian flat 7 is a Mixolydian scale with a sharp 4 or a sharp 11. Since today's upper structure does not include any kind of 11th, it doesn't completely define the Mixolydian scale, thus allowing its use on dominant 7th chords with a sharp 11, which are well paired with the Lydian flat 7 scale. These dominant 7 chords with a Lydian flat 7 as their chord scale are very often found in harmony. The flat 7-7, for example, takes Lydian flat 7, also the sub 5-7, or any secondary sub 5-7. They're all paired with the Lydian flat 7 scale by default. So if you see any of these functions in a progression, you can pair them with the Lydian flat 7 scale and therefore use today's upper structure on top of the voicing. Let's look at Freddy Freeloader by Miles Davis from the album Kind of Blue. This is a blues with a few interesting modifications, and it's a good example to show you how to use today's upper structure. This blues follows one of the most basic blues progressions, with 4 bars of 1-7, 2 bars of the 4-7, back to 2 bars of the 1-7, and then a 5-7 to 4-7, which honors the blues roots, instead of using the 4-7 to 5-7 or the 2 minor 7 to 5-7, which is more common in jazz, specifically bebop. But the most interesting chord in this progression is found in the last 2 bars of the progression, which is an A flat 7 for the entire 2 bars. This A-flat 7 is the flat 7-7, a clear departure from the standard blues progression, but very effective. This flat 7-7 takes Lydian flat 7 as its chord scale, and the rest of the chords in this progression are all mixed Lydian. So we can use today's upper structure quartal throughout the entire song. If we write the 3-4-7 on top of all of these chords, we get the following progression. There's a really cool combination of upper structures that we can use in this particular song. Notice how the melody moves down from the 6th to the 5th degree in the first 8 bars. So, if we combine today's upper structure, the 3-4-7 over dominant 7, with episode 2's upper structure, the 2-4-7 over dominant 7, we will be harmonizing the melody with upper structures. So we can play the 3-4-7 over B flat 7, which is D4-7, and then move to the 2-4-7 over B flat 7, which is C4-7. And over E flat 7, we could have G4-7 over E flat 7, moving to F4-7 over E flat 7. The inner notes in my upper structures are actually the melody, which sounds like this. And for an added effect, we might add a chromatic grace note to those inner notes, like this. Lastly, the A-flat 7 at the end allows the use of our upper structure, as we've mentioned before, because it's the flat 7-7, which takes Lydian flat 7. So we can play a C4-7 over A-flat 7, which works great. The whole point is that you look at these upper structures from different perspectives. Each perspective will open up different doors, and any of these ways of thinking is useful. All right, it's time for your upper structure challenge of the day. See if you can picture the 3-4-7 perfect quartal over the given dominant 7 chords. As always, we'll give you 4 beats to think about it, and then we'll show you the answer. B flat 7, D4-7, A flat 7, C4-7, G7, B4-7, C7, E4-7. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks again for joining us for another episode of Upper Structure Fridays. Don't forget, Upper Structures Volume 2, Upper Structure Quartals, is now available as an interactive PDF filled with all of these video lessons, 12 key workouts, and demo songs showing you how to use these upper structures on top of real jazz standards. Speaking of demo songs, we're going to leave you today with our demo showing you the use of a 3-4-7 perfect quartal over dominant 7 chords. Enjoy.